Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you are aware, the Toronto Police Service undertook a very significant major investigation last year. It culminated on June 13th of this year with the arrest of several dozen suspects, the laying of over 200 charges, and the execution of numerous search warrants. At the conclusion of that investigation, a great deal of evidence was seized and information and charges were placed before the courts. There were indications through the course of that investigation of other criminal activity not encompassed within the original Traveller investigative mandate, and as a consequence, I directed that an investigation be conducted into information that we had received with respect to certain criminal behaviours to ensure that we left no stone unturned, that we did our job, that we conducted investigations into allegations and evidence of criminality. That investigation resulted in the arrest on October 1st of one individual or two individuals with respect to a number of drug-related charges. As a result of the evidence that was seized on June 13th at the conclusion of Project Traveller, a number of electronic devices, computers, telephones, and hard drives were seized, and all of the devices that have been seized have been subject to forensic review and examination by members of the Toronto Police Service Intelligence Unit Computer Technology Section. On October the 29th, on Tuesday of this week, we received information from our Computer Technology Section that in the examination of a hard drive that had been seized on June 13th, they were able to identify a number of files that had been deleted and that they were able to recover those files. As a result, I have been advised that we are now in possession of a recovered digital video file relevant to the investigations that have been conducted. That file contains video images which appear to be those images which were previously reported in the press with respect to events that took place, we believe, at a house on Windsor Road in Etobicoke. That information has been turned over to our investigators who are here today. The investigators have taken that information and that video evidence into consideration, and as a result of their investigations and evidence that they have gathered, they have this morning taken into custody Mr. Sandro Lisi and laid a charge of extortion with respect to the evidence that has been collected. Mr. Lisi will be appearing, I believe, later today in court in answer to that charge, and all of the evidence that has been seized with respect to that investigation and that charge will be presented before the courts, and I will not be releasing it today. But I do want to advise you that we have continued with that investigation. The Toronto Police Service is now in possession of a digital video file, and that evidence will now be presented in court in support of the extortion charge that has been laid. I'll be happy to take your questions now.
That video shows the mayor in it. You referenced those images that were in the press. Was Mayor Ford in that video?
Again, I'm not going to get into the evidence of this case, but I can tell you that the digital video file that we have recovered depicts images which are consistent with those that had previously been reported in the press.
The mayor of Toronto is under. The mayor of Toronto is the mayor.
I do not believe so. I believe that we have interviewed quite a number of people over the course of that investigation, but that interview has not yet taken place.
Can you now confirm what the court documents released today indicate, which is the Toronto Police Service has been surveilling and investigating the mayor of Toronto?
Let me confirm for you that the Toronto Police Service has been undertaking a very extensive investigation into allegations of criminality. That's what we've been doing. We've been conducting a criminal investigation, and in the course of that criminal investigation, we have been doing everything necessary to gather the evidence and to gather evidence in support of that investigation.
But the mayor of Toronto,
Just hang on a second, John. I'm going to take another question, Austin.
The mayor appears to be making transactions with Lisi. At one point, did your officers not want to pull him over and see what he was buying or what was in that transaction?
Again, the officers are very experienced and competent investigators, and they were gathering evidence The proper course of action for us is to gather all of that evidence. If the evidence supports reasonable and probable grounds for the laying of a criminal charge, then to lay that charge and to bring that evidence before the courts. Now, it raises an important point. Our responsibility in the gathering of that evidence is to place it before the courts, and that's what we have done in the case of the traveler charges, in the case of the earlier charges with respect to the drug offenses that were alleged on October the 1st, and with the charges that were laid today. That evidence goes before the courts. I am not going to divulge the entire nature of that. The evidence goes before the courts, and it is up to the courts to make a determination as to the admissibility of that evidence and to whether or not it will be revealed to the public. We've done our job here.